I won't say not yet, though.
Well, there's a time for everything.
The timeline is right here, but that's what the age Robert is gonna tell them in English. Which place?
L'chaim v'livracha. To life and to blessings. L'chaim. If you want to eradicate evil, how would you do that?
Erase it.
Erase it.
Be good.
Oh, be good.
Well,
Shimon Leiba, Chassid.
be good.
Good, that's good.
How does that eradicate evil?
You're good all the time. You won't be evil. If everybody's good.
Oh, all right, Shimon Leib. He's a Chassid.
Too busy doing good.
Anybody else? How do you eradicate evil? Ezekiel,
You're good.
do good. You're a goody good shoes, it sounds like. It's good. That's good. I say it, partially tongue in cheek, but mainly I mean it. No? How? How do you eradicate evil? So the answer is really doing good, but it's more profound than just doing good, because evil gets its nourishment from klipa. Klipa is the shell that covers over everything, the presence of God. Right now in this cup is the presence of God, but it's covered over, right? In all of the material world that God animates, there's a presence of God, but it's all hidden. When we use it for good, for a mitzvah, we elevate that spark that's there. And by elevating that spark, when we do that sufficiently with our world around us, individually and of course collectively, but we can only do it ourselves. But when we all do that collectively, then true evil does not have a nourishment, because true evil gets its nourishment from the admixture of the tree of knowledge and good and evil that gives vitality to everything of the world. Right? Yeah, you follow? Yeah, don't bother. You won't follow then what we're doing. Yeah. Yeah. So when it's all the material world is in that manner upgraded, so then true evil that gets nourishment from the aspect of klipa, that klipa's noga, that has a mixture of good and evil, it's elevated. So now true evil has no place to get nurture from, get vitality from. Can't get it direct from God, because that's only holy things. He can't get it from klipa if all klipa has been nurtured to use for a heavenly purpose. And then evil will be eradicated. So in the end, it's do good. Doing the mitzvah is absolutely correct. Welcome to Tanya Today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad, Zichron Kadesh, Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Believe it or not, we conclude the 26th letter. This letter was a very lengthy letter that started off with teachings of the Zohar, Kabbalistic mystical idea about the tree of knowledge and good and evil that gives vitality to everything. And the issue that we had in the lack of understanding was that, that vitality comes from a mixture of good and evil to the cup and to the physical world is one thing, but we're speaking about Torah teachings. How could it be that there would be a vitality to Torah teachings that come from a place that's of good and evil, not of the tree of life? When we raise the Torah in synagogue, we say, Eitz Chaim hi la machazikim ba. Right? What do we say? The Eitz Chaim hi, the tree of life, to those who hold on to it. Literally, someone's holding on to it. And literally, we hold on to it by learning it. What are we learning? Torah is the tree of life. So how could it be that it is an aspect of Torah is the tree of knowledge of good and evil? That's a mixture of good and evil. So we explain, because through the shattering of the vessels in the world of Atzilus, the vessel was too small and the light was too great, that shattered spiritually the vessels, that shards of holiness now came into Klippa. They were vested in Klippa, a spark of divinity that was hidden even in Torah knowledge. How? Why? Because we have to break our heads to reveal the wisdom of God and discover that wisdom that's hidden in this world. Because not everything was given at Mount Sinai in a clear form. Yes, the words of the Torah are very clear. Yes, the oral tradition that comes with it, there's clarity, but not everything. Not everything. Some things we need to innovate. Innovate within the framework of that Torah gives on how you can be innovative, but innovative we must be. That's why it's only sages that we listen to in their innovation, because they are completely given over to the teachings and not their own ideas. How to be innovative within the framework of the teachings, and not like, oh, this is my idea. Now let me see how it makes sense over here. Right? That's not a sage. That's a person with an agenda. As every human being has an agenda. We all have an agenda, except for someone who is righteous. Their agenda is one thing. God, what do you want? What do you want from me? They're just a conduit. So those sages are the ones who their teachings, as our Alter Rebbe, who we're learning from, completely given over to seeking out the truth of the teachings. So what's going to happen, and it's going to happen, is that evil will be dispersed, completely eradicated. How? Because we're going to elevate the world in such a way through the mitzvahs that we do and all the objects of the things of this world that are helping us to do the mitzvah, we're going to elevate. So we're just learning about Avraham and God coming to visit the sick. So God coming to visit Avraham because he, after his circumcision, God can, he can travel very easily. But if we have to visit the sick, we might have to take a car to go to visit the sick. Guess what? The car is part of that mitzvah now. It becomes a mitzvah mobile. It becomes a mobile to do mitzvahs, right? It becomes a conduit for, right? So it's not, car is, earthly, mundane thing. Yeah. It could be used for just mundane activity to go to, go seek your own success. You seek your own, comfort. So you go in your car to, buy your comfort food in the store for yourself. To have a better, day watching, Sunday football. Or you're using your car to do mitzvah. So now your car, filling up the gas for the car, everything that's involved in becomes now part of a mitzvah mobile. It's elevated. All of our things become elevated, right? Then we're taking from the car, we're taking from the cup, we're taking from everything. The shard of divinity of the spark that's there is elevated, right? And then eventually what's going to happen, and it's going to happen, that the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that is now the dominant source of vitality in this world, right? Metaphorically, meaning from God, right? Won't be anymore. It won't be the dominant source, right? So now it being at the dominant source, our Torah study is to extract the sparks that are hidden in this world of Torah wisdom. And therefore there's innovation, novelty as a result of that, or rather, discovering new understanding, deeper understanding, and so on. And therefore, we have to break our heads through the study of the Talmud and the study of, the revealed parts of the Torah, because through that we break through the shell that's covering over the divine that's there. But when Mashiach comes, we don't have to do that anymore, because the tree of knowledge of good and evil is not going to be the dominant life-giving force in the world and to us. So then what are we going to study Torah for? Just to make a divine union. No, not to bring out the inherent divine that's here, which we need to do now, break it from its shell, from its exile, but then it'll be revealed. All the shells will be broken open. God's presence will be. So then what would Torah study do? Torah study will be not to extract the sparks, but to bring a divine union, a marriage in the divine order between the male, female of the divine, which then will bring new sublime lights that transcend even the world of Atzilus, as the Arizal explains, right? So, and this will be accomplished primarily through learning the inner dimension of the Torah. And this is what the Zohar was saying. By learning, it was speaking about this is the teachings of Zohar itself, but it's not just merely the Zohar, but the inner teachings of the Torah that are not about the do's and the don'ts, but the deeper understanding of what's behind the do's and the don'ts, the deeper mystical appreciation of it. And that will be the primary teachings of the Torah at that time, right? It says in the future the mitzvahs will be abrogated from this world. Doesn't mean in the first era of the times of Mashiach, but after the resurrection of the dead, that's a different time period, right? So, so what's going to happen is like this. The two ways to learn. You can learn from the outside in or inside out. Outside in means the do's and the don'ts, and then from there you come into the deeper understanding, right? Times of Mashiach, we'll be able to learn the inside and come to the outside. The inside will understand the inner dimension of the Torah and the mitzvah, and from there we will either know how to do the mitzvah, right? Or we will learn it, but one time will be enough because we won't forget. We only forget because there's klipa, there's a shell. What does forgetting mean? Forgetting means it's in, like, how many times, especially when this is what it means, a senior moment, right? What's a senior moment? Oh, it's there, but it's hidden, right? It's in a shell. Oh, let me crack it open. I know I have it. I got it. It's there, but I got to crack it open, right? Well, once it's all cracked open, guess what? You're not going to forget, because the presence of God will be so clear that you learn something once, it makes an indelible mark upon you. You learn the law of kosher, you'll know how to do it. Or in one of two ways. Either you're learning from the inside because you'll understand the inner dimension of kosher that will lead you to the act of kosher, of how to keep kosher, for example. Or you just learn it one time and it'll be sufficient. That will be for all those that taste the teachings today. But the mixed multitude, the Erev Rav as they're called, I'm not certain what that means, who that is. I have my hunch, but I'm not going to say anything. Right? The mixed multitude, they're not going to have this privilege. They're going to have to learn the regular teachings, because they will still be shackled by some of the things of exile. They won't have the complete, full awareness of God's presence in the manner that we just explained. And they will still be dominated by some negativity. And therefore, they will have to learn those laws in order to break the negativity as we do today. They will have that then. It won't be the same as it is now, as harsh and as difficult, as exile is today. But that idea will still remain from those who are called the mixed multitude. And again, I don't know what that means, who that's meant. I don't know if that means those who don't taste that teachings today or someone else. I'm not certain. Now with this, we'll answer a question that we just had in Chumash and Rashi. David, you're here. You're here. Why did we just have a question? We just learned Chumash and Rashi. Well, what's with this Pesach business? What, they're making matzah? Pesach, what are you observing? Because Avraham Avinu was connected to the internal teachings of the Torah. And because he had that, that now expressed itself in the act of doing the mitzvahs the way he did it. He didn't have all of the parameters that we learn in Rambam when it comes to laws of Pesach or other laws. Didn't have all those parameters, right? Because why? Because it didn't exist, because we didn't go out of Egypt yet. So the exact, the do's and the don'ts, right, didn't have those things. But the internal message of what they are, the inner dimension of those teachings existed.
So he was inside out.
So he was inside out. Exactly. It was inside out. And that's why the Gemara says that Avram fulfilled the entire Torah before it was given. Right? He couldn't have done it in a physical level because those physical things didn't exist. Tefillin. He didn't put on tefillin as we put on tefillin today. He didn't do that. But the concept of tefillin, what the inner dimension of tefillin, he got. What it means to bind your mind and your heart to be you working in unison and so on, what all that means in spiritual terms and so on, that concept he had. So from the inside out, so he reflected it in a manner, as it says actually we'll have soon by Yaakov, the Yaakov with the sticks that impregnated the sheep after with Lavan, right? That was the idea of tefillin. Right. Huh? That we'll see in a few parashas from now. Yeah.
Question. Did he have this inside understanding before Hashem approached him or after Hashem approached him?
He learned by the yeshiva Shem. He learned.
But
He studied Torah.
So that was before.
It's not because God came to him. God did not come to him like he came to Moshe Rabbeinu to teach. He only taught to Moshe Rabbeinu. Only to Moses was God a teacher too, right? And if no one else was God a teacher. Even prophets came a prophetic vision for a mission to fulfill, but not as a teacher. Only Moshe, we call Moshe Rabbeinu, our teacher, right? Prophets, you don't call them our teacher, even though they taught. They did teach, but he's the only one who got direct from God teachings that to give over to us, right? So Avram didn't get, we're learning now, Vayera Hashem El Avram, and Vayera Elav, right? He appeared to him. He didn't teach him anything. We see nowhere that there's anything that God ever taught, right? He instructed them to do things, right? I mean, he didn't instruct about bris milah, but we don't even the circumcision that Avram fulfilled, the Rambam writes, we don't do circumcision today because Avram did it. We don't do it because he did it, right? We do it because at Mount Sinai, God commanded us.
So everything
Now,
he was teaching people when he approached people and told them that there's one God, everything was from him inside he had.
Again, what does it mean inside? Inside inner teachings, the inner dimensions of the teachings that led to an outward expression that's not the expression we have today. I mean, in some areas, perhaps there was, like making matzah. Okay, he made matzah. He didn't make matzah because he went out of Egypt and didn't have time to let the dough rise. That's all why he did it. Because matzah is an expression of what it means freedom. Matzah is an expression of that. That it relates to Pesach, the going out of Egypt, that's later.
It took on another meaning.
It took on a different expression, not another meaning, another expression of the outward experience that the Jewish people went through. Right? This is the inner reality of what it is. Right? Just briefly, what's matzah? Bread is full of hot air. Bread is a person that's full of ego, full of themselves. Matzah is flattened. It doesn't rise. And that's what humility is. To have freedom is only through humility. Only through humility to have freedom. Because you need to be free from your ego. To be connected with your inner true self. So that's what matzah represents. That inner humility, to not be carried away with our animal instinct, which is an ego that's going to be full of itself. So he had matzah, not a problem. Did he know that matzah is going to be used by going out of Eden? No. But that's what matzah is. It's inherent to the matzah what it is. Right? Just as time, it's inherent a time of freedom, as we just learned. Why is Pesach in the spring? Because spring is a time of blossom, renewal. And freedom is renewal, return to your true inner self, right? To be able to blossom. So he did that, all of that, because he had the inner dimension of the teaching, so he was able now to express it in some manner, right?
But it called here ugot. We don't call matzah for Pesach ugot. We know ugot is something that is risen.
Matzah ugos, yeah, we do. Actually do.
What's
Yeah,
the-
there is a term, yeah. Ugos matzah. Matzah, yeah, ugos matzah. I have to see where the verse is, but yeah, there is a term. Yeah. Cakes is not like what we think, a 7-layer cake. Right, because that's your perception. That's your perception, and my perception. First of all, by the way, because we translated it. If you uga and you didn't translate it, so then it would be different. So don't translate it, right? Because you translate it, so that's what it means to you, but that's not what the word means, right? It doesn't mean that. I have to look where the verse. I don't remember where the verse is offhand, but we'll find it. In any case, so in the second temple, by contrast, they needed to be involved, even though there was a holy temple, but it was still a time of exile, because it's not time of Moshiach. Exile in the sense that Moshiach isn't here. Only when Moshiach will be here, there will be eradicated all the evil of the world. That's what's going to happen. Says the Alter Rebbe. This will suffice for us to understand everything that we've just gone through in the last many days. So we're waiting for Mashiach to come. Then no longer will klipas noigo, the klipa, the shell, that's a mixture of good and evil, as the tree of knowledge of good and evil is the vital force, the dominant force today. That will all cease, and our engagement in the world will be to create greater holiness. How? How do you create greater holiness? Because we will perceive that in the mitzvah, we create a divine union that brings new light and new life into the world. We do that today, but we don't experience that. But what we can experience is how we shatter the klipa of the world to bring deeper and more profound understanding. We do that when we ourselves, just think about it for ourselves, right? We got a thick head, at least I do, right? We got a thick head, And when we can shatter this thick head and we get something, oh, you got it. What did you saw the spark of the divine that was there that before was hidden from you, right? And now, and that's without even innovative and discovering. But that the teachings itself I discover, right? Let alone deeper appreciation and understanding, which is even more so. How do we do that? How do we do that? One word. I want one word.
Exertion.
Good. Not enough though. Give me the word.
Humility.
Bittul. Self-effacement, humility. When I'm full of my knowledge and I'm just going on what I know, I don't pick up stuff. I see around the table how sometimes we were learning something and we just learned it and the person's asking the question. We just learned it, so we just said it. Because there isn't a self-effacement sufficient to follow what we're doing, because in our head is elsewhere, thinking my thoughts. Sometimes it's extraneous, but sometimes it's even in the teachings, but it's not where we're at, and therefore you don't pick it up. And we ask, okay, listen, we're all just somebody have a thicker head, that's all. Chaim l'chaim. Any questions? I see there was a question here. I missed it. Let me find it. Phenomenal. How come I saw a question and now I don't see it? Oh. Oh. Any questions, folks? Any comments? Any thoughts?
I was wondering,
Yes.
is the klipa, and I'm going to try to express my question clearly, is it around God's creation, or it's in our perspective, in our minds, it's not seen?
Is it really
Is it
klipa being animated?
on this?
This is
really us, on our eyes and mind.
both. This is truly being animated by God, right? Everything is animated by God. The question is just how, right? This is being animated by klipa, right? That God's presence is not experienced and felt. It's also in me, but holy people are moved not by wanting coffee, but the spark of God that they are in tune with. I'm in tune with coffee. Holy people are in tune with the spark of God. I'm aware of the spark of God, but I'm in tune with it. I'm not in tune with it, right? I'm aware of it, so therefore I'll make a blessing and I'll whatever, I won't, just throw this in someone's face, right? So I'm aware that that's not in tune with, that's not being, fulfilling. It's, yeah. All right, folks. We are going to continue thank you.
So here I'm telling you, it's the people know God is influenced by virtue.